Behold, the noble fish. Long a part of the human diet, but also frequently listed as people's least favorite meal. And that shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, way back many years ago, Christians were expected to eat fish on Fridays as an act of penance. I don't know about you, but if, eating it is an act of penance, that doesn't really sound good for the taste. And quite frankly, if you grew up eating these, chances are good you either don't like fish today, or you have an uncontrollable urge to punch out sailors wearing yellow raincoats. But you know what? We can do better. So tonight, on another cooking show, we're making fish and chips. Okay, we're going to start by making a bear batter. This is a really easy recipe. We're going to start with 2 cups of flour. To that, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of salt. Use a whisk to get that worked together. Then you're going to pour in 1 bottle of beer. Now, don't use your most expensive stuff, but use something you're going to enjoy drinking. A medium-bodied brown ale or lager would be great. Pour that in, and then quickly get it whisked together. And what you're looking for is about the consistency of pancake batter. If you have to add a little water or a little more flour, that's a-okay. Now that that's all together, cover it in plastic and put it in the refrigerator for at least 10 minutes, no more than an hour. Okay, now a lot of people these days have gluten allergies, in which case you're not going to want to use a traditional batter, but there's a good alternative. We're going to start with 2 cups, or in this case 4 half cups, of rice flour. To that, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder, just like before, 1/2 tablespoon of baking soda, that's new, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to take our whisk and just, get that started together. Now to add the liquid. Now, you might want to add bear, but bear has gluten in it, and while there are gluten-free bears, I'll be honest with you, they aren't any good. So instead, we're going to use 1.5 cups of club soda. Make sure it's cold. We're going to start bringing that together. As before, we're going for the consistency of pancake batter. If you have to add some more club soda, then do what you gotta do. And again, as we did before, we're going to cover this with plastic and put it in the refrigerator for at least 10 to 15 minutes, no more than an hour. Well, if you're going to make fish and chips, you gotta make chips. Now, what the British call chips, we Americans call French fries, but the French call pommes frites. Now, the common myth is that American servicemen during World War II encountered them and brought them back, calling them French fries, but during his presidency, Thomas Jefferson once served potatoes fried in the French style. So, where the term comes from is anybody's guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, I like to go with 2 potatoes a person, and we're going to cut them, we're going to wash them, and we're going to cut them. Now you could use a French fry press, and then you'll get some nice even fries like this. If you don't have one of those, you can try and cut it best you can, or if you want something different, just cut a really thick potato chip. Either way, you're going to heat your oil in a deep fryer. If you don't have a deep fryer, a heavy pot over the stove will work, but heat it to about 320 to 325 degrees. Now, it's important that you don't overload this because the temperature is going to drop once you put them in. After you've cut them, it's a good idea to rinse these potatoes, let them soak for a while to get rid of some extra starch. Just make sure you drain it and dry it off really well because, as I've said before, oil and water don't mix. hot oil and water really don't mix, and hot oil and ice crystals will burn down your house. So we're going to put these and we're going to fry them for 4 minutes. And they've cooked for a while, so you're going to shake them out. Then you're going to take a tray lined with some paper towels. It actually works better if your grocery store will let you have them brown paper bags. And dump them out. Now traditionally people would do this on newspaper, but it was later found that doing it on newspaper could cause the potatoes to leach out some of the ink, and that's not exactly the healthiest thing in the world. So we're going to take the rest of our potatoes, and again we're working in small batches. We're going to let these go another 4 or 5 minutes. And these are done. Drain them out a little, and again, dump them onto paper towels. Now I know what you're thinking, these don't hardly look done at all. Well, that's the trick to making good French fries, is you actually fry them twice. First at a lower temperature to get them kind of cooked through, and again at a higher temperature to crisp them up. So we're going to crank this sucker up to 375 degrees. Now while that heat continues to heat back up, I think we should have a little word about what kind of oil you're using. In this case I'm using canola oil, but regardless of what you choose, you want to use an oil with a high smoke point. Canola oil, peanut oil, safflower oil, soybean oil, and most blended vegetable oils work great. You don't want to use olive oil. While olive oil is really good for you, it has what's known as a relatively low smoke point. That means when it starts getting to the temperatures that you deep fry at, it's going to catch fire, start smoking, and turn your delicious mealtime into a nightmare. Anyhow, we're going to wait while this oil comes up to temperature. Okay, now our oil's come back up to temperature. So we're going to take our pre-cooked potatoes. And we're not going to do all at once, but we're going to add a good amount in. We're at 375. We're going to cook this another 4 minutes. That's enough time. So we're going to shake them out, put them out, and take a look. These haven't been second cooked yet. These have. You can see the difference. Anyhow, once you get them out, immediately put salt on them while they're still hot. You could add other seasonings right now too if you liked. Some places put Cajun seasoning on them. We're going to take the rest of our potatoes, and again, 4 to 5 minutes. Now all our fries are done. So again, throw them onto a cookie sheet lined with a paper towel. And salt them immediately. Now park these in a oven set to warm, or the lowest setting possible while we cook the fish. Okay, now for the fish part of fish and chips. Here's the bare batter we made earlier. And what you're going to want is about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds for this much batter of a firm fleshed white fish. Traditionally, and most commonly, people use cod for this. I'm not a big cod fan. Now, there's plenty of other fish you could use. Tilapia would be a good choice, mahi-mahi as well. In this case, I'm using a fish called swai. So we're going to just put this into our batter, and we're going to work in small batches, just 2 at a time. Now we're going to turn our attention back to the deep fryer. We've cut the temperature a little bit, about as close as we can get to 350. Before we put any fish in, we're going to lower the basket. If we put the fish in first, the batter's going to seep into these little nets, and then it's going to stick to the basket, and that'll make it really difficult when it comes time to take them out. Reach in, we're going to drain off some extra batter, and we're going to slowly lower this into the oil. And this will give the batter a chance to firm up a bit before it touches any of the webbing. Our coating's a nice golden brown. So we're going to, just like the fries, drain it onto some paper towels. And then we're going to cook the rest. Now if you prefer gluten-free, we're going to take our other batter. We're just going to add a few hunks of fish to it. Let them get a very light coating. As before, if you're using a deep fryer, put the wire basket in. If you're just using a pot on the stove, it's not that big a deal because you don't have a basket. So once we got some batter on our pieces of fish, we're again slowly going to add them in. In fact, that was a little too quick right there. We're going to let that cook for about 3 minutes again. We're going to take them out. You can see that they fried and puffed up quite nicely. We'll drain them on paper towels. And we'll move on to our next pieces. And there you have it, 2 different ways to make fish and chips. Whether you take yours gluten-free or not, don't let this be your limit. Say you wanted something a little more crispier on the gluten side, substitute out maybe a 1/4 cup of flour for a 1/4 cup of rice flour. If you want it less crispy, maybe take out a little rice flour and add some cornmeal. Whichever way you do it, you're going to love it. If you want some more than this, a little coleslaw is usually served. And don't forget the malt vinegar. Now if you're gluten-free, malt vinegar has gluten. So try some cider vinegar or red wine vinegar. I'm Bill, and I'd like to say thank you for watching another cooking show.